Well, a couple weeks back, we reviewed the Bandai Premium Frankenstein from Frankenstein Conquers the World. And today, I figured we'd give the spotlight to his no good kids. That's right, we are reviewing the Bandai Premium Sanda and Gaira, aka the Gargantuas, from the seminal classic War of the Gargantuas. If you're new to this fandom and you've never seen War of the Gargantuas, what are you doing? Stop this video, pause it, save it for later. Go watch this movie because it's pretty much available just about everywhere, but there's everything to love in this film. It's essentially two Bigfoots wreaking havoc in the Japanese countryside before they throw down in Tokyo, Cain and Abel style. You got the green one, who's fighting octopuses and eating people, and the brown one, who's just a little more pacifist. He wants to hang out, he just wants to chill, be left alone, enjoy nature. And of course, there's also this girl. The words get stuck in my throat. Yeah, she ain't winning any Emmys anytime soon. And you also have Western star Russ Tamblyn, giving the performance of a lifetime. Now, technically, this is a sequel to Frankenstein Conquers the World. If you watch the American version, you'd never know that. Now, this is absolutely one of my all-time favorite Toho films. But we're not talking about the movie, we're talking about toys right here. And these are among the very first Bandai Premiums ever offered in the Godzilla line. But for years, people have clamored for Bandai to produce a set of Gargantua figures. They never did. In fact, there's still a couple of characters out there we still want, we still haven't gotten. But that's besides the point. But back in 2017, they finally relented and they decided, we will give you what you want, but you're gonna pay a little more for them. And that's exactly what we did. These two are not cheap at all. They roughly ran about $70 a figure, so about $140 combined. And they were available online only through Bandai Premium, which to this day is still one of the most frustrating things because they do not sell outside of Japan if it's Japan only. Otherwise, you're going through third-party sellers and you are definitely paying that premium price. But I digress. Let's get into the review of these guys. So let's start with Sanda, the brown Gargantua, the hero of the story, if you will. He stands roughly about 6 inches tall, which puts him in scale with the other Movie Monsters series figures. But that's also not a bad thing, as in the movie, these guys stand nowhere near as tall as the other Kaiju that are, well, occupy the Godzilla universe. They're pretty small, which does work to the movie's favor, because when you watch the movie, when these two are doing judo throws into buildings, the buildings' miniatures are much bigger, so you get a lot more detail. He does have actually a pretty good paint scheme with the light brown for the fur and the darker to show the scales, if you will. He has a beautiful sculpt actually in the head, which is, you know, kind of the money shot of these Gargantua outfits. The Frankenstein-esque brow, the kind of I'm bored of all this look. There's detailing in the mouth, and yeah. Now, the one thing is that he has very limited posability. His arms are the only thing that moves. So you get up and down like that. So pretty much you can get him in his pose of, please, I don't want to deal with this today. Beyond that, that's pretty much there really is all to him. He does have a tag, like all Bandai Premium figures. They do go back to the old school tags of days of yore in the 90s. So pretty standard. There you get Sanda, and then on the back, pretty much that. Which the Gargantuas still don't have their own little stamp, which is a sad thing. And here we have Gaira, the green Gargantua, the villain of our story. Basically standing same size. He is posed in his pretty much iconic, very aggressive. Much like Sanda, the sculpt stands out with the facial sculpt, and Gaira, oh man, he's got the best of the two. That's in my personal opinion. The really angry brow, the kind of piggish nose, the tusks stand out. He actually has a very good paint job on him, much more standard green all over. The face has a slightly darker hue to reflect the skin. He does have wonderfully sculpted scales, which kind of highlight with little fur details, if you watch the movie, he's an aquatic base monster. So he's got a mixture of scales and fur. It's a very unique design. I love it to death. Other than that, the one downside to this figure is that he has no posability whatsoever. Like, he is pretty much a static figure, an inaction figure, as Nika used to call them. You're paying $70, it's a little disappointing. The argument to that is that these aren't made for kids. These are made for adult collectors. And if you're paying that kind of money, you want a little more bang for your buck. Now, much like Sanda, he comes with a tag, as you can see. Standard tag with his ugly mug right up in front. And on the back, same standard nonsense. Still doesn't have a stamp. But beyond that, it's pretty cool. I do love my Gargantuas, and I kind of love the fact that I do have these in my collection. Overall, these are actually pretty good figures. Their shortcomings aside, I do love that Bandai finally got around to producing these. They were the introduction to the Bandai Premium line, and the fact that they do exist in some form in Bandai vinyl does warm my heart. I will say that for the price point, it is a toss-up for you collectors out there. I know there are people like me that are completionists and they got to have them all. And there are some people that will look at that price point for the size of the figures and what you're getting. They'll say, no, thank you. I might go with something smaller and more affordable. But that is, collector to collector. We all have our taste. So that'll wrap up this review. Remember, if you like what you see, we do have a show. It's called The Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. You can find us at thekaijukingdompodcast.com. And if you don't like to download, you can also stream our show. We're on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you find better podcasts. We're also on social media. We're on X at The Kaiju Kingdom, Instagram at The Kaiju Kingdom, and Facebook.com/The Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. And that'll do it for this edition of the Koffers. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.